Alright, it is August 2nd. I'm posting this video August 3rd. However, I filmed this video March 1st, which means the person who sat down and filmed this video is not the person I am today, and they are living in a very different world than we are living in today. And I couldn't just post this video without recognizing that, without recognizing the incredibly significant historical events happening in our world today. And also, I'd like to at least touch on the fact that I am a very different person with very different priorities right now. So I have struggled with posting this video at all. There's a reason I haven't posted in months and months, because I don't feel like Marvel is a priority talking point right now. And this is a Marvel channel where I just talk about Marvel movies and nothing significant in the world. And I don't feel like that's important right now. So I have struggled with what I want to do with this channel. And I will get into that in future videos. I still want to post videos, but I think things are going to change. And that's a good thing. That's okay. Don't worry about that. But for now, I do want to post this Marvel video because I think it's cool. I worked really hard to edit it, and it's a neat reminder of who I was just a few months ago and how much I've changed and how much my personality and my priorities and my thoughts and my feelings have changed. And it's a nice reminder that there was a point in my life where I was very passionate about insignificant things. And maybe there will be a point in my life where I can do that again. And I'm posting this video. However, I feel most comfortable posting it after saying the most important things in our society and recognizing the most important things in our society. And those things are Black Lives Matter, trans women are women, COVID-19 is real, wear a mask when you go out in public. With that being said, I hope I can distract you from the woes of the world for just a few minutes by fanboying over Marvel movies. Please enjoy. Thank you.
I'm Brenna Beckwith, and this is my MCU tier list. So, of course, disclaimer, these are all my opinions. I am not telling you how you should think about these movies. I'm telling you how I think about these movies.
I am Iron Man.
Iron Man gets a solid C. I don't think the Iron Man movies are the strongest MCU movies. I don't even think they're the strongest Iron Man movies, if that makes any sense. I also hate Pepper Potts in these movies, and to be honest, I don't like Tony Stark in these movies either. That's not to say I don't like Tony Stark, mind you, I just don't like his portrayal in his movies. He's a really amazing character, and there's no doubt his story arc is one of, if not the most significant character arc in the Infinity Saga. I'm just saying his solo movies don't really represent that, so even though Iron Man is super important to the MCU, I don't think his movies hold up, and that's why I'm putting Iron Man 1 in C. I feel like people would want me to put it higher because it's the first movie. It started the MCU, and it started the MCU pretty well, but it doesn't hold up. In my opinion, it doesn't hold up.
Forget it. No, it's your fault. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. Thank you. That's all I wanted to hear. Partner.
Iron Man 2 is getting a D. I'm giving it a D because of all the reasons that I just listed that I don't like the Iron Man series, but funny story, I do remember seeing it when I was like in middle school, and a lot of the advertising for it, they put the 2 in the middle of Iron and Man for some reason, and so I called it Iron 2 Man, which is really funny because there are 2 Iron Mans in it. It's really funny. Iron 2 Man. Anyway, another important thing about Iron Man 2, I'm pretty sure that's where, like, they retroactively put Peter Parker in there, which is kind of cool, but still, D. We're moving on.
It's very dangerous to be around me.
I'll know where Hulk is going. Hulk is going to F. Of course it's an F. The main reason that it's an F for me in particular is because they really had a scene where Bruce Banner was about to have sex, and they really made me think about the Hulk having sex. I wish I could take it off the tier list. I do not know why this movie is still canon.
So is this how you normally look?
More or less.
It's a good look.
Thor's going in E because it was worse than Iron 2 Man. Actually, no, it's going in D. I changed my mind. I love Thor and Loki, but I feel the same way about this movie that I do about Iron Man. It's important to introducing these characters, but it doesn't do much else for me in terms of story or significance. Yeah, I really like the introduction of these characters, but...
What happened to you? I joined the army.
Captain America, First Avenger, B+. I love this movie. I love Captain America. Captain America is my favorite superhero. One of my favorite superheroes. They're all my favorite. I like them all. But Captain America really, really is what got me into Marvel in the first place. So I am almost tempted to put it in A, but there's going to be a lot of movies in A, so I want to like scale this correctly. Finally, we get to a really strong introduction movie. All the other introduction movies so far to these characters were a little weak, to say the least. I really love Captain America, and every one of his movies are so strong. This movie stays relevant throughout the Infinity Saga, and rightfully so. It's well crafted, the story is beautiful. In my opinion, this really is where the MCU started getting really, really good. Captain America is integral to the MCU being good, so like, B+.
Earth's mightiest heroes type thing.
Yes, I've met them.
Avengers, A-. It honestly was a little bit better than Captain America, the First Avenger. Of course, where we see the Infinity Saga start to form, it's so awesome, and we get this amazing team, like this beautifully crafted team. And all of the Avengers, I think, are at their best in this movie. I think the original team, of course, is a team at this point. It's so awesome. And this kind of team-up movie had never really been done before. And even though the MCU has grown so much since then, I think the Avengers still holds up against all the rest. I love it.
Is that Iron Man?
Technically, I am.
Technically, you're dead.
Valid point.
Iron Man 3 gets an E. This is the one that gets an E. Because it's better than the Hulk. But Iron Man 3 seems like it didn't happen in the MCU. I think Tony Stark really develops in this movie, but that development does not carry. The biggest example, of course, is that Tony decides to retire and then he's just back in Age of Ultron and there's no explanation, there's no change. Like, it's almost like they took it back. The most memorable part of this movie is that Tony Stark struggles with PTSD, which I think is a really important story to tell, but I wish they had told it better, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Betray me, and I will kill you.
When do we start?
Thor: The Dark World, we know where this is going. We all know why this movie was bad. I don't even need to talk about it.
Lucky?
The Winter Soldier gets a B+. This movie was so good, so important to the ultimate plot of the MCU, so important to Steve Rogers. However, I could have done without Natasha trying to set Steve up the whole time. And of course, one of the main events in the MCU thus far is S.H.I.E.L.D. becoming Hydra, so that's a really important thing that happens in this movie, and I think it's really well done. Also, they introduced Sam Wilson into this movie. Oh my goodness, this is a really good movie. Do I need to make it higher? No, it's okay. I like where it's at, B+. Keeping the scale.
Now I'm standing. You all happy? We're all standing up now. Bunch of jackasses standing in a circle.
This movie has a special place in my heart, and it's going in an A-. But it has a special place in my heart because I watched this extended preview at Disneyland with my dad, and that was before like anybody really knew what the Guardians of the Galaxy was about, and I was hooked. I was so excited about this movie. It was so cool to watch it the way that I did, and like I really liked this movie. This movie introduces some of the best MCU characters and really takes the kind of risks we were waiting for. Guardians of the Galaxy is so important, so I'm putting it at an A- because it sets a great foundation for the movies that follow, but doesn't necessarily surpass them in quality. Like Gamora, she's so integral to the MCU and her character is so awesome. I almost wish that Guardians of the Galaxy was through her perspective and not Peter Quill's perspective, but like, Peter Quill's a cool character too, don't get me wrong. Chris Pratt is amazing. This is such a good movie. I kind of want to put it higher, but I know, like I've been saying this entire time, there's gonna be a lot of movies in A&S, so we gotta keep going.
But if you put the hammer in an elevator, it would still go up. Elevator's not worthy.
I'm gonna miss these little talks of ours.
Not if you don't leave.
I actually literally just watched Avengers Age of Ultron last night, and I gotta put it in C-. I keep thinking that this movie is going to be better than it is. It just doesn't give me the same feeling that the rest of the Avengers movies gives me. Ultron's kind of weak in this movie. His motives are kind of weird, and the way they explain it, the science is off. I mean, Marvel science is always gonna be a weird thing, but for some reason it just didn't really work in Age of Ultron. You know, Wanda and Vision are really, really important characters moving forward in the MCU, but I don't even think that they're portrayed very strongly in this. Quicksilver was so, I don't know, Quicksilver, that was like the worst live action Quicksilver I've ever seen. It's almost like they wanted someone to die, but they were like, we need to introduce a character so we can just kill him off because we don't want to kill off any of our main characters, which was like kind of annoying. Honestly, I kind of want to take it off of the tier list altogether because of this line.
You and Banner better not be playing hide the zucchini.
Just so gross. And this scene,
Sorry.
Don't turn green.
Joss Whedon needs to go. That's awful. That's the fucking ew. It did have its moments though, like the Vision and Ultron scene. Hawkeye's farmhouse moments were also really good and character defining. The after party scene with Thor's hammer was really good, and of course introducing Wanda and Vision, who became really important later on. But the positives do not outweigh the negatives in this one. I could go on, but I think you get my point.
Amy. Hi, I'm Scott.
Ant-Man goes in B. Because Ant-Man is so underrated in my opinion. He's one of my favorite Marvel heroes, but of course I've said that about pretty much every Marvel hero at some point in the past, but Ant-Man is so cool. Paul Rudd is so freaking funny and so perfect in his role. I love Ant-Man in the movies that he appears in. It was really funny, it introduced some cool characters, took some risks. Overall, pretty good movie.
They're not stopping.
Neither are we.
Captain America Civil War. This movie is like all of the good things about every MCU movie combined. So many important Marvel defining moments happen in this movie, and they happen so well. The way I think about it, if the MCU is an ultimate storyline, Civil War is the climax. It's so beautiful, so consistent. This movie rocks my socks and remains in my top 3 MCU movies of all time. I literally cannot complain. I could go on and on about it, but I kind of already did in another video, and will probably make more videos about it in the future. This is such a good movie. So good. Go check out the video that I already made about it because fuck, this is a good movie.
A powerful sorcerer gave himself over to an ancient entity, combined the very laws of physics, tried very hard to kill me, but I left him chained up in Greenwich Village, and the quickest way back there is through a dimensional gateway that I open up in the mob closet.
Okay, don't tell me.
Doctor Strange gets a solid B. I really like Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange. His portrayal is really awesome. I love the psychedelic feel. Doctor Strange sets up a lot of really cool potential for the rest of the MCU, and especially for Phase 4. Doctor Strange is going to be pretty important in Phase 4, and I really liked his movie. Coming right after Civil War, it just did not compare, and I think I like Doctor Strange a little bit more every time I watch the movie. Ooh, I almost want to make it a B- because of the whitewashing. I'm a social justice warrior, we know this. I do not like the whitewashing in this. I also don't like the stereotype that, you know, a white man has to come in and use Eastern medicine to heal himself and then he becomes the master of it. It's a little bit imperial for my taste. So actually, that being said, I think I'm gonna kind of move it down a little bit. It's a little bit racist. So maybe we're gonna move it to a C. Sorry. Wow, I really talked myself down that one. But Benedict Cumberbatch is really good and it does set up a lot of really important things for the MCU, but it is racist. Moving on before my comment section blows up.
If you kill me, you'll be just like everybody else.
What's so wrong with that?
No!
Guardians 2, A+ movie. Man, Guardians 2 is so good. Somehow it's a sequel that's better than the first. There is just so much story packed into this movie and it's so good. Gamora and Nebula's relationship development is beautiful. Yondu's character takes an amazing turn for the better. Rocket gets a complex character arc, which is so unique and unprecedented for a raccoon to get a character arc that I actually relate with, which was kind of weird for me. And of course, not to mention some of the best cinematography and visuals in the MCU. That funeral scene just blows my mind every time I watch it. Such a good movie. This movie really rocked my socks. The only reason it doesn't get an S is because the movies that follow are even better somehow.
If you even cared, you'd actually be here.
Spider-Man Homecoming gets an S from me. Because I love MCU Spider-Man. I love him. There's nothing else I can say. I really personally relate to him a lot and I care about him as a character and I think he fits really well in the MCU in the way that they did him. I know some of y'all don't care for MCU Spider-Man, but I love him. I'm totally on board with Tony Stark's role in Peter Parker's life. I love this movie so much. I have an emotional connection to it. The story is awesome. It's funny, it's cute, it's wholesome. It's everything I like about Spider-Man and Peter Parker. It sets itself apart from the other Spider-Man stories while staying true to the character. I've already talked about how much I like Aunt May. I like MCU Spider-Man, okay. I like the villain. I like the storyline. I like MJ. I like Ned. I really like these characters. Did I just say frick?
There was one time when we were children, he transformed himself into a snake and he knows that I love snakes. So I went to pick up the snake to admire it and he transformed back into himself and he was like, yeah, it's me. And he stabbed me. We were 8 at the time.
S. Just Taika Waititi really did that for us. He really saved Thor. In his 3rd movie, it took him 3 movies to really have a good solo film, and he did it so good. This movie saved these characters at a depth we've never seen before and remained really funny. If Disney wasn't so homophobic, we could have gotten our first bisexual representation. I think Valkyrie is still awesome as fuck. Really good movie. The visuals are so cool. I love like the psychedelic colors and the Grand Master is awesome. This is so good. Queer baiting is a little bit annoying, but there's queer baiting in literally all of these movies, so we're not going to talk about it very much. I'm probably going to make a video about it at some point, but my point is that Thor Ragnarok is really good. It's really up there. I like it so much. Bruce Banner gets an amazing story. Like, who would have thought that they would do the Planet Cult storyline and just throw it all together? It's so good. The adaptation from the comics, this is it. Like, Thor's comics are so bright and colorful and exciting, and this is it. Like this movie, it gets an S. Mwah. Perfect.
I can't wait to see what kind of update you make to your ceremonial outfit.
Black Panther, for me, gets a B-.
All right, I rambled on so much in the explanation for this tier list ranking that I can't even make sense of it in editing, so I'm just going to try to explain it more succinctly here. The reason Black Panther is in B- is not because of the cultural significance. I really don't want to downplay how amazing this movie was for Black culture. I loved this movie for the fact that the creative team, the actors, the production team, everyone had this one goal in mind to represent Black culture in a powerful and beautiful way, as it should be represented and as it is so underrepresented in Hollywood. And I think they really did achieve that goal. And I don't want to downplay that at all. I think that was really, really beautiful. And I think that was really amazing. However, the reason it's in B- is because the third act is just really boring. I find myself not being able to watch through this whole movie in one sitting because I get so antsy. There's just these really long, drawn out scenes that I can't wrap my mind around. I think the cinematography is okay until we reach this really bad CGI fighting and stuff. I think that the choice to kill off this villain was so frustrating and so sad. I hated that so much. I really wanted to see Killmonger extend his story arc. I really think that they could have done something interesting with his rehabilitation, and I really wish they had kept his perspective on for the rest of the Black Panther story arc. And I really miss that. I'm really sad that they just decided to kill him off after introducing like one of the most interesting villains I've ever seen in a Marvel movie. So that was really frustrating to me. And I think the final thing is not the fault of the actors or the production team or the creative team of this movie. I think it's the fault of the executives because I feel like this team was held back a lot. And I think that none of these characters really reached their full potential in this movie. I wish that it could have been, they could have really dived into the inequities. I wish that they had really, gone harder with all of these cultural issues and systemic racism in our society. And I don't think they hit on that quite as hard as they should have, because it's a Disney movie and because Disney is still racist. I feel like they held this movie back a lot, and if we had been able to, if the creative team had been able to express themselves fully, I feel like we could have gotten a more culturally significant movie than we already got. So yeah, I hope I explained that all right. Let me know in the comments if that didn't make any sense still. This movie is hard. This movie is hard for me because I really, really want it to be amazing, but the technical things in it are just not awesome. And and like I said, I feel like it's been held back. And I hope that they can really punch in Black Panther 2. I hope that Black Panther 2 really raises the bar, especially with all the cultural things going on right now in our society.
You know Thor?
Yeah. Tall guy, not that good looking, needed saving.
For me, personally, for me, Avengers Infinity War gets a D. I've made a video about why I don't like Infinity War, and I really, really need to make a new one because I made that like 2 years ago when Infinity War came out, and I definitely have different opinions about it now, and I definitely think I can be more articulate about why I don't like Infinity War. I do not like that I don't like Infinity War. I really want to like it, and I've watched it a few more times in the past. I've watched it again multiple times in an attempt to like it. Like, it's so weird that I love Marvel so much, and Infinity War is such a big part of Marvel, and it's so well loved by Marvel fans, but for some reason, it just doesn't do it for me. Not for some reason. I know why it doesn't do it for me. I don't like that it's Thanos' movie. I don't like a big bad villain having his own movie. That's just my own opinion. It doesn't make me feel good, which is a valid reason to dislike a movie, because if a movie doesn't make you feel good and you want the movie to make you feel good, that's a reason not to like a movie. And Infinity War doesn't make me feel awesome. It feels a little, to me, disjointed. characters make decisions that I don't personally understand. I just really wish that I liked it. Like, it would be so much easier if I was like, yeah, I love Infinity War, but I can't lie.
I have nothing to prove to you.
Captain Marvel, C-. I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion. I actually don't think it's an unpopular opinion. I don't think Captain Marvel holds up. It's really, really sad because does that make me sexist? Other than being the first female title character, I really don't think this movie holds up. I left the theater feeling kind of let down. This movie just did not take the risks that it needed to be held to the same standards as the movies that came before it and the two that came after it. I feel bad because Captain Marvel is supposed to be so important to the MCU moving forward. She's supposed to be the strongest Avenger, but she just kind of feels irrelevant still. She just does not come off as the most powerful or the most important character at all to you. And I hate that because I'm sexist for not liking the most important woman in the MCU and the first female superhero title character in the MCU. I don't know. Something went wrong. It's a C. It's a C movie. Verging on D+. Sorry. Moving on.
I wish we could shrink for real.
Oh, that is pretty cool.
It gets an A. I loved Ant-Man and the Wasp. Like I said, I love Ant-Man and I really like the Wasp. I love Hope. She's so cool. The Pym family is really awesome. I think that this movie is also underrated. It was such a good breath of fresh air after Infinity War. I went and saw it with my dad and I was like so scared because I had such a bad experience with Infinity War that like I really just needed a good, fun, exciting escape movie, which is exactly what it was. I love Paul Rudd, like I've said, and really just overall an awesome movie.
It's been 5 years, come on, they need us. And then he started doing the yellow sparkly thing that he does all the time. What are you doing? Oh, this is nice.
Endgame just takes the cake for me. So good. My all-time favorite movie at all. My all-time favorite movie. Endgame is so awesome. I don't think that I will get a theater experience quite like that again in my lifetime. I know that I have a long life left to live, but honestly, like, watching the culmination of like 12, 11 movies all lead up to this moment. Like, there's so many scenes in this movie that I cannot get over. This movie really does it for me. This movie does it for me. I watched it so many times in theaters after that. "You can rest now" is such a good line. I want it engraved on my tombstone. Honestly, this movie is so good, and at risk of changing my setup forever, I will show you that I have like a shrine for it behind me. And this is also an Endgame poster. I love Endgame. It's such a good movie.
I actually like it better broken.
I really like you.
I really like you too.
Far From Home also gets an S. I love Spider-Man. I love MCU Spider-Man. I do not understand why people don't like MCU Spider-Man. I honestly think that they're just too stuck in the past and attached to Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, who is not a bad Spider-Man. I don't think any of the Spider-Mans are that bad. I don't know. I really, 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 really like Spider-Man from the MCU. This movie was somehow better than Homecoming. I love the rom-com meets superhero feeling. I love that MJ is no damsel in distress. I love that Peter is really feeling the pain of the last few movies. I love Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. He's a really awesome character. I love the "you can't trick me anymore" is just so good. The Mysterio scene where there's dead Iron Man and Spider-Man is in a globe is awesome. I love the black suit. The black suit is my favorite Spider-Man suit of all time for some reason. I love that he builds it. Imagery of Iron Man just like following him wherever he goes. Like there's no place that he can go to escape that pain and that suffering. Man, I love Spider-Man. I love the MCU. I love Marvel movies so much. This is it. This is my tier list. I hope you enjoyed. I hope that you maybe agreed with me at some point, probably. Hopefully. And if you don't, of course, leave what your thoughts are in the comments below. Please like this video. It is going to take me so long to film and edit this video, so please don't let it flop. Click the like button, share it with your friends and all that stuff. Yeah, you can rest now.